Hello, how you doing? My name is Jacob Adams. I'm a fitness and leadership coach. Have you ever wondered why it's so difficult to achieve what you set out to do? Specifically, creating music, writing a book, writing a poem. It could be starting a workout regimen. It could be increasing the fiber in your diet. Anything that requires you to actually improve your life or do something you're proud of. Have you ever wondered why it is challenging at all? Well, in 2014, I was lucky to find the book called The War of Art by Steven Pressler. And I've discussed The War of Art and recommended that book to so many people of so many ages. And to the point that I really believe it's clear to me that I'm one of the ambassadors of that wisdom. What I mean is, it's when I tell somebody, like, I know that not everybody's going to get the book. Not everybody's going to care, even if they understood the concepts which you're about to understand right now. So if you understand the concepts I'm about to share with you right now, and you apply them more specifically, well then I applaud you, because you are one of the carriers of this wisdom. And I'm glad I get to share it with you. So I was reading this book in 2014, and I want to tell you a little bit about this pen for a second. This is a Parker pen, and you get this at Office Depot or Staples or online, whatever. The brand is Parker, P-A-R-K-E-R, and it's about $10. It was $7, $8, $10 pen, and you can go like this all day. It'll click all day, and I've been using this pen for this type of style of pen and this brand for maybe 20 years. Now, before you get excited there, because it's hard to believe that onto itself, but the reason I used a pen like this for 20 years is I remember as a kid always going to class and the teachers would say, why don't you have something to write with? Why don't you have something to write with? So I chose to commit to always be prepared and have a pen. And then I also chose a good pen that wouldn't run out of ink. And I chose a pen that I felt comfortable writing in and I would have pleasure in writing in. And this is the pen that I chose, and it's worked for me for 20 years. They're available in different places, but I've been known to give these pens away to people I care about, etc., etc. What does this have to do with the war of art and achieving what you set out to do? With this pen here, I believe I encountered the first just very organic growth of my art. You know, here we are all these years later, I'm making a video on the war of art. But at that time, I had a crush on this girl, and I was writing poetry for her with a pen just like this in journals I would get at Walmart or HEB, or a gift, someone would give me a gift, and I'd fill up that book with poetry or philosophy, and I'd read books by Nietzsche and William Blake and things like that, Shakespeare, you name it. And through that, I was able to find my muse. This is where we start getting into the war of art. The muse, as talked about in The War of Art, the book by Steven Pressler, is what whispers to us to create. It stirs within us, it moves within us and tells us to create. This video, for example, is the product of that voice, okay? And we have other options, like, for example, there's a show on Netflix called Glow. I was binging last night before bed, and you know, part of me wants to watch that show. But since I know about the war of art, I've said, let me get this video out. And if you looked at one of my other videos, I'll get to get a point for this for my inner light work, okay? Not let the shadow overcome my work. So here's the video being made, talking about it. So Steven Pressler calls something, he identifies something called resistance. And it's exactly what you think it is. So let's just say you want to create a video, or you want to work out, or you want to meditate. And he says that, let's just say that you want to do that, okay? Pick one of those, meditation or working out, pick one. Let's say you decide to do that, or dieting, and you've decided to do that. You're like gung-ho gonna do it. And the next day you wake up tired, you're sleepy, and you don't do it. You say, I'll do it tomorrow. You've just experienced your first bout with resistance. And in this situation, if you don't do what you set out to do, you won. For me, the resistance today is Glow on Netflix, a show about women's wrestling. Go figure. last year I was not even watching any TV, and this year there's a little bit of resistance to that. Another form of resistance could be the news, watching the news and getting caught up in the worry and the stress. Doubt is a form of resistance. Okay, I remember when I was reading the book, for example, a true story that happened is that I was reading the book and it went into how Arnold Schwarzenegger's territory, every artist has its territory. This little place right here at the moment is my territory for creating videos, right? And in the book, the Arnold, he goes into how Arnold Schwarzenegger's territory is the gym. And here I'm a trainer, I'm a coach, right? At that time I read that and it was thundering and raining hard that day when I was reading this. Lo and behold, resistance. So I go out to my car and it's almost completely, the water's almost seeping into the car. And I go in the car and I'm like, oh my goodness, how am I gonna make it to the gym? And the whole way to the gym, all the streets are flooded. And I remember literally getting to the light and water's almost in my car. And I'm like, what do I do? Do I turn around? I don't know if I'm gonna make it. Like it wasn't to do with me, but I was like, this is such a literal picture of resistance. And so what I did was I drove through the water. I had a great workout. I was there. I'm the one that closed the gym that day because I had a key. I was working there at the gym, and I was so proud of myself to have overcome this resistance. Now, nobody would have batted an eye if I didn't make it that day. That day, I wanted the gains, I wanted the exercise, I wanted the benefits, but I specifically didn't want resistance to overcome me that day. And that is a picture, a literal picture of understanding and implementing and living with the war of art, okay? Like I said, today it's glow, okay? Resistance comes in many forms, all right? It could come to you in the form of, let's just say there's friends and family giving you their drama. That's a type of resistance. Or even somebody that you care about is going through a significant challenge in their life, and they could have created that because they wanted attention, believe it or not. And as crazy as it seems, that attention that they want from you may be taking away from your work of your art, and the resistance is luring you. So this resistance is actually a very sneaky devil that is out to stop you from your work of art at all costs. If you look at some of my videos, I like that Grant Cardone goes into something like be obsessed or be average. And I really believe that's because in the struggle to create art, we have to really face a lot of our weaknesses and a lot of the things that stop us and be so consumed by our goal, be obsessed and consumed by our goal that we can push through the most challenging of resistances. And I really believe that it's through that pushing at the highest possible, like you gotta be kidding me level, that we really can get to that next level within ourselves, because we've overcome the hardest of the hard, the most difficult challenges that the human spirit can encounter. Okay, so that's a little bit about me and how I encountered the War of Art by Steven Pressler, as he talks about. Steven Pressler also wrote, he actually is the one that wrote The Legend of Bagger Vance, and there you have someone going through The Legend of Bagger Vance. If you look at it, is as someone going through the War of Art. He's a washed-up golfer needing to pull the greatest parts of him out in order to achieve this victory. Get back the woman that he really loves deep within him, that he's given up on, and that's given up within him. Okay, so given up on him. So keep that in mind. I think that in the past, if you look at the way we handle resistance prior to knowing about the War of Art, we looked at it like, oh, well, what are you gonna do? And it was cool to say things like, oh, it's hump day, or it's Monday, or just anything to, if you look at every day of the week, there's a reason why not to do something. Monday, it's a case of the Mondays. Tuesdays, I can't think of it, Taco Tuesday, I don't know. Wednesday's hump day. Thursday's almost the weekend. Friday is Friday. Saturday, no, you weren't planning to work anyway. And then Sunday's the day of the Lord. So if you look at every single day in the calendar, I think Tuesday is like the one day that people don't readily have something to say. There's Thirsty Thursday, there's Thank God It's Friday, there's Hump Day Wednesday, the Monday blues, Sunday's the Lord's Day, and Saturday no one works, so Tuesday's the only day. I haven't readily heard someone have some comeback as to why not to work, okay? So take that for what it's worth. But in the past, I think that was more cool. That was more like chic to be this excuse-driven person. I'm standing in front of you right now telling you I kind of didn't want to make this video. Part of me was very resistant to it. So it's not always a literal flood stopping you from your achievement. Sometimes it's deep emotional challenges that you have to face. You know, you have to look within yourself at the highest level because there's enough challenge. And I know that this video is going to fall on one of those people that sometimes you just don't want to do it for not reasons on your own, but maybe your emotional state. Maybe it's a lack of motivation, lack of something, but it's the momentum that we need to build, and in that momentum find our voice. And once we find that voice, you know, we can let it out, whether it's through a pen, through a video, through some level of creative process. You know, some people are out there making, Elon Musk is making Teslas, some people are out there making quilts, and some people are out there making tacos. Whatever it is, you know, you have something to contribute to society and your community. And this is a little bit of that struggle. Okay, so currently in today's world, it's important that we realize this and we clarify and we simplify our agenda so that we're really hitting the main targets in our day. You know, they say that, it's been said that some people overestimate what they can do in a day and underestimate what they can do in a year. So break down your big goals into little pieces enough so that you can really start connecting the dots. I have a big goal coming up in a few weeks, you know, and it's challenging to get it done, but it's such an important thing that I got to get it done, right? And once that's done, I can focus on other things. So that's a little bit of what I'm saying, that you really got to target your art or your agendas, the ones that are really connected to your biggest work. You really got to pinpoint those and move away the clutter, the fat, the excess that is dragging that down. And that's important in modern living. So do that, make sure you do that. There's different ways to write down your goals. I like to use Brendon Burchard's one-page productivity planner and stuff like that. And it's very common to can think of like the war of art or something like that and think it's something that doesn't apply to you if you're not an artist. But in reality, it's very much something to do with your whatever it is that you're doing. And I'd love to hear your thoughts. Please subscribe. I think I'm running out of tape here. More resistance, right? We'll see you soon. Bye.